In 1923, Congress created the American Battle Monuments Commission as an independent agency to commemorate the men and women who served in the U.S. Armed Forces and gave their lives overseas. The Commission currently maintains 26 cemeteries as well as 29 memorials, markers, and monuments that are primarily outside of the United States. In September 2021, President Biden appointed retired U.S. Army General Mark Hertling to serve as one of 11 commissioners on the ABMC. And in December of that year, General Hertling was elected to chair the commission. Previous chairmen have included General John Pershing and General George Marshall. In this interview, General Hertling describes the commission and its work.
This is a commission that honors those who have fallen for our country. So there are 26 American battlefield cemeteries overseas. This is not Arlington. These are cemeteries that are in overseas location. We have a total of close to 200,000 American soldiers buried in World War I, World War II, some Korean War, some Vietnam soldiers are buried in these cemeteries. So what we do is maintain the honor and the stories of those 200,000 plus and the 140,000 missing in action. Normandy is one of our cemeteries, Manila in the Philippines, Margraten in the Netherlands, Anzio, or the Florence Cemetery in Italy, Tunisia. It's a fascinating mission. We get to remind not only international audiences, but American citizens that we owe a debt of gratitude to these hundreds of thousands of those who gave their lives for our country. And each one of these cemeteries overseas and the stories that they have are just phenomenal. Let me tell you one story if I can.
To illustrate the work of the commission, General Hertling shared a story of two sisters who served during World War I. Dorothy and Gladys Cromwell were identical twins, born in 1885 in Brooklyn, New York. Their father was a trustee of an insurance company, so they lived lives of Gilded Age privilege. At the age of 33, the sisters decided to join the war effort.
And they volunteered in 1918 to go overseas as nurses with the American Red Cross to serve our soldiers. They arrived in Paris and they were immediately sent to the front lines in the battles of World War I, and they were under constant shelling for almost 6 months. Their physician, who was in charge of them, said that they were experiencing at the time what they called a soldier's heart, which we now know today is PTSD. So he sent them back to Paris, to a hospital in Paris to continue to treat soldiers, but in the rear area. Unfortunately, they got back to Paris at a time when the Spanish flu was rampant. So for the next several months, they treated patients in the Spanish flu wards in this great pandemic of 1918, which furthered their post-traumatic stress, seeing so many people die. The war was over in November 1918. Soon after, they were put on a troop ship back to the United States. And during the period of the end of the war until they got on the troop ship, many of their colleagues told the story that both of them said they could not go back to New York City because they had come from an environment of upper class parties, debutante balls, the rich and famous, if you will. And they had experienced for the last year and a half dealing with the common soldier in a combat environment. And they just felt like they couldn't go back to their family. So in January of 1919, as they were heading back to the United States, both of them held hands as twins. They were twins, remember, so they were born on the same day. They crawled up on the front of the ship, and in a scene that would be reminiscent of the Titanic, they held hands and jumped overboard and committed suicide. They are buried next to each other in the Suresnes Cemetery. So at the top of the hill in Suresnes, overlooking the city of Paris with the Eiffel Tower in the background, are these two grave sites. They both have their simple words on the cross, their names, ARC, which stands for the American Red Cross, and they were awarded the Croix de Guerre by the French government. And their story is just two of the many stories of the people that are buried in our cemeteries.
It's powerful, and it's a great reminder that freedom isn't free.
Yep,
And these lives deserve to be honored.
exactly.
To learn more about the American Battle Monuments Commission, go to abmc.gov.